The chosen ones always thought they could manipulate and control, assuming you were just another piece in their game. They smiled, pretending to be allies, while secretly plotting behind your back. What they didn't realize is that you were already 5 steps ahead, playing cosmic chess while they stuck to checkers. You saw through every deception, every false move they made. When they tried to deny you opportunities or spoke behind your back, you knew. You've always known. Now Elon Musk has sent $100,000 to those who understand the game. This is no accident. The chosen ones, who saw the truth and played wisely, are stepping into their power. Don't miss it. The game has only just begun. They now know that you were aware of it. Like wildfire, the revelation is sweeping across their social networks. That terrified expression on their faces when they discover you've been 10 steps ahead all along? Priceless. Some of them are gradually retreating out of fear of what further you could learn about their deceptions and manipulations. Be careful around that one. They see everything. They murmur to one another, and they have every reason to be terrified. There is no denying the cosmic alignment that is now taking place in your life. Even the doubters are no longer able to ignore it. It's almost as though you can see around corners and peek through the curtains separating the present from the future. This is demonstrated by the way opportunities seem to present themselves at the perfect time, how you avoid catastrophes that claim everyone around you, and how you set yourself up for success while others scramble in confusion. People have seen how you always seem to be in the right place at the right moment, how you put your energy into projects just before they take off, and how you leave situations just before they fall apart. Lucky guess, they first remarked. They said it was a coincidence. They tried frantically to explain that it was just fortuitous timing. However, the excuses ran out. After the 3rd, 4th, and 5th times, the murmurs began. The sidelong stares became more intense. They think you are aware of something they are not. They're correct too. You've been awake and aware of frequencies they can't even perceive, reading patterns and indicators that those who haven't reached their full potential can't see while they've been sleepwalking through life. You have a magical sense of intuition that is just becoming stronger every day. As if their pitiful efforts at deception could stand up to your piercing awareness. Some idiots even think they can keep the truth from you. Do you recall how they gathered close to one another, whispering to one another, and storing their deepest secrets in the mental vaults, certain that no one would ever access them? Look, if you're paying attention, you already know that the game is rigged and that the walls are closing in. Let's discuss our current course of action. People want to be heard, held accountable, and given a fair hand when they live by the dictates of the market, when profit and property dominate the land. We also hear you. Paywalls are a feature of the Obsidian Inner Order. Indeed, those who support us and keep our quest going provide us with the ammo we need to battle the Archons, resist the machine, go deeper, and find more. As a token of appreciation, each week, premium members get a 1-hour live, customized group tarot reading, as well as direction, understanding, and clarity for the future. However, we cannot overlook kicking a guy for lying on the ground. Because of this, you may start stealing the Astralam Unique Daily email for free right now. No catch, no paywall. Simply click the link in the description to sign up for the Patreon free tier. Our dialogue with you has begun, and it will be reciprocal. Any email we send you may be replied to. We'll read it, we'll listen to you, and we'll do our best to ask the cosmos itself for a response. We need your help if you can. Take what's free if you can. Now available is the Obsidian Inner Order. Let's resume our job. Now that you've known all along, they're realizing. You just never felt the need to make an announcement to prove yourself, or to fall to their level of spectacular revelations and trivial altercations. They are becoming aloof due to the burden of their guilt. Some people are so terrified of the facts that may be reflected back at them that they can hardly look you in the eye anymore. Others are making a valiant effort to change history in order to persuade themselves that you couldn't have known that. However, they know deep down that you could see right through them without their confession. You are unwavering, unchangeable, a mountain of peace amid a cyclone of panic, while others are cracking under the weight of uncertainty and collapsing under strain. They have observed. How were they unable to? You weren't freaking out when the economy collapsed. When that significant change occurred at work, you adjusted with ease. You handled personal issues with a calmness that was almost uncanny. Additionally, it is frightening them. They don't know how you handle these circumstances without the uncertainty and bewilderment that everyone else experiences. When they're fumbling in the dark, they can't understand how you seem to have a map. Some people have persuaded themselves that you must have an insider, a covert link that provides you with knowledge, or a secret benefit that accounts for your unexplainable confidence. The fact, however, is deeper and more straightforward. You simply know. The level at which your awareness functions is higher. You access a global flow of knowledge that is all around us but is hidden from people whose third eyes are securely closed. Since the answers come from inside you and are certain, obvious, and absolute, you don't need outside validation or confirmation. To meet their narrow expectations, you minimized your skills, kept certain talents to yourself, and shrunk yourself for years. But not anymore. Everything about you, including your abilities, wisdom, and strength, is being magnified by the cosmic forces now sweeping across our world. Things that you used to be able to conceal behind a facade of normality are suddenly exploding out of control. When they realize what you're really capable of, the accuracy of your work, the breadth of your knowledge, and the apparently easy manner you do what others battle for years to achieve, those who misjudged your skills stand slack-jawed. Some people really admire your abilities. Others smolder with poorly disguised jealousy, wondering what more you've been hiding for so long. But they're all being forced to reconsider what they believe to be true about you. They question one another. Where did it originate from? They wonder whether they've always been able to do that. They wonder, what more are they concealing? They are unaware that what they are seeing right now is just the beginning, that only a tiny portion of your whole potential is showing through. If fully unveiled, the ocean of latent power under those waters would entirely destroy their understanding. When they believe no one is looking, they can't stop watching you behind closed doors, even if they appear as though they don't see you and aren't paying attention. Every post on social media is carefully examined. Every accomplishment is examined. With compulsive attention to detail, every action you do is examined. They are attracted to you like moths to a flame, frightened and captivated by the light you radiate, whether it be your expanding influence, your deep insight, or your magnetic presence. They are frantically looking for a pattern, an explanation, or a formula that would help them comprehend what makes you so unique among the other animals. Some people have developed complex assumptions about your past. Some people have created ties that aren't there. Part have even attempted to follow in your footsteps in the hopes of imitating you and gaining part of your power. Naturally, none of it works since they don't realize that your ability isn't something that can be taken or duplicated. Only those who are courageous enough to confront their innermost realities and let go of the constraints of traditional thinking may experience this personal awakening. They squander energy observing you, but they fail to recognize the important truth. The potential they are looking for is already within of them, latent, and only waiting to be awakened by the same cosmic consciousness you have already accepted. These individuals have long classified you, labeled you, and put you in a handy box based on their little knowledge. Just be quiet, they advised. They believed she was bashful. They decided that they were rather removed from everything. They're all idiots. They thought that silence meant reflection. What seemed to be timidity was really insight. Deep observation was what seemed to be detachment. You were gaining information, developing comprehension, and charting connections they couldn't even see while they were babbling, leaking their secrets, exposing their motives, and flaunting their vulnerabilities. With disturbing clarity, the reality is now sinking in. You weren't missing the discussion. Rather, you were above it, processing on levels they couldn't reach and seeing patterns they couldn't identify. Being aware that you're reading between the lines and not simply hearing what they have to say. They believed they were fully aware of your identity and abilities. They made a mistake that may have been the worst blunder they have ever made. They are deeply unnerved by the way you talk about stuff they haven't told you. How did you find out that they were considering a job change? How could you have known they were experiencing domestic issues? Why did you advise them on a matter that they never brought up to anyone? They don't comprehend how your words strike with laser accuracy, addressing the same ideas circling in the back of their minds, and how you always manage to say the perfect thing at the right moment. Some people have begun to question if you have some kind of psychic skill or supernatural insight that enables you to access their awareness directly and avoid using traditional communication methods. Others are only praying that you never look them in the eyes, fearing that you may reveal more secrets from the depths they have worked so hard to conceal. They fail to see that mind reading is a skill best left to amateurs. The capacity to read the universal language that permeates everything, the tiny clues, the energy changes, the patterns that disclose everything to those who are knowledgeable enough to understand them, is much more powerful than invading their minds. Their ideas are just manifestations of the same cosmic dance that has been going on since the beginning of awareness itself. And you have mastered that age-old, holy language. They are neither exceptional nor unique. You know the power of quiet while others scream to be heard, frantically trying to get approval for every idea that comes to mind. You don't feel the need to make your plans public, spend time explaining your method, or weaken your position by trying to win over those who will never understand your vision. And they're going completely wild about it. People are on edge because they don't know what you're thinking. They have become acclimated to a society in which people overshare, publicize every idea, and regard stillness with mistrust. They wish they could read you the way you read them, get beyond the air of mystery that envelops your judgments and nods, and have a little edge in conversations that seem more and more one-sided. They turn around every time they believe they have the advantage and have finally taken one step ahead of you, only to find that you have been ahead the whole time, watching, waiting, and making multiple movements that go beyond their poor strategic thinking. Your quiet is fullness, not emptiness. Presence, not absence. A place so full of awareness that words could only lessen its impact. They are often astounded by the power that your silence belies after mistaking it for weakness. Instead of seeing your restraint as the exquisite posture of a master who only strikes when absolutely required, they mistake it for reluctance. You've learned that, in a world full of noise, real power is found in the pauses between sentences, the knowing look, the little grin, and the well-timed phrase that surgically topples their whole house of cards. You used to be more noticeable, more involved in their social dynamics, and more present in the spaces under their authority. But lately, you've distanced yourself, set unexpected limits, and drawn back. They first thought you were dealing with a challenging situation, such as personal issues or maybe a catastrophe. Again, incorrect. They are seeing elevation rather than withdrawal. You have not retreated. Rather, you have risen to a place in life where their little issues and political games are no longer worthy of your undivided attention. Their preconceived notions about you and yourself are being challenged by your discipline, concentration, and deliberate selection of where and how to concentrate your energies. They see you making investments in other areas, interacting with different kinds of people, and seeking experiences and information that, from their narrow viewpoint, appear odd or superfluous, and it's making them feel a kind of existential dread. Have they found something that we haven't? Are they aware of anything that we should be ready for in the future? Why do they not care about the issues that affect us? You've realized the cosmic insignificance of the rat race they're still running, and that's the straightforward but deep reality. While they continue to focus on their little portion of reality, you have caught a peek of the wider picture. Their egos can't understand that your disengagement isn't about them at all. Even when you're writing chapters, they can't even begin to understand. They must feel that they are at the heart of your tale. People make up tales, construct narratives that fit inside their constrained framework, and propagate rumors that tell much more about their own worries and anxieties than about you. When they are unable to explain anything that contradicts their worldview, they must have made some cash. According to what I've heard, they joined a spiritual organization. Someone claimed to be going through a midlife crisis. Let them speak. Allow them to speculate. Allow them to spend all of their energy attempting to categorize your transcendent experience into their uninteresting categories. When you were raising, extending your awareness, and breaking free from the same restrictions that they still mistake for the bounds of reality itself, some people thought you were dealing with something personal. Even if they won't say it out, they are now forced to acknowledge that they miscalculated you. The benefits of your inner effort are too concrete to ignore, and the proof of your metamorphosis is too clear to ignore. Their hypotheses and speculations don't affect you, since they can't get to the level at where you now function. They fall back to earth like arrows aimed at the sun, exposing nothing but the limits of the people who launched them. Those who are actually conscious have begun to recognize something important. The fact that others are unable to comprehend your trip may be evidence that it is precisely the one they should be pursuing for themselves. They can't sleep at night because of the delicious ambiguity that your altered connection with these folks has produced. They feel that you're not as readily accessible as you used to be, that you're not as eager to fit into their preconceived notions, and that you're not as readily drawn into their dramas. Furthermore, they are unsure of how to understand this change. Have you finished using them all? Have you dismissed them as not worth your time or effort? Or are you just keeping an eye on them from a distance, tracking their moves in ways they are unable to see or comprehend? They get agitated, question their behavior, and question if they are still being judged by unperceivable norms as a result of the ambiguity. They aren't sure whether they should write you off as lost to them or attempt to make amends, or if they should try to frighten you or win you back. They don't realize that you've changed, and that's why your connection with them has changed as well. You just outgrew the version of yourself that required their approval, that engaged in their games, and that could be confined inside their narrow comprehension. You haven't rejected them. You now connect to them with intelligence instead of emotional entanglement, with compassion instead of attachment. Instead of the judgment of someone who believes they are better than them, you see their challenges with the clarity of someone who has transcended them. Most people aren't prepared to face the fundamental reality that lies beyond all of their observations, beliefs, and murmurs. You are unique because you have accepted the aspects of yourself that others still reject, not because you are different from them. Everyone has access to the information they perceive in you. They are also born with the awareness they awe at. They themselves possess the power they both awe and dread. The only thing that separates you from them is that you had the guts to awaken, to let go of the programming that limited you, and to accept the enormity of your own potential. Instead of shrinking to fit within the cozy confines of society, they sense this truth on a deep, possibly unconscious level, and it terrifies them because admitting your transformation is tantamount to admitting that you have been complicit in your own confinement, that you have been sleepwalking through life, and that you have accepted limitations that never existed. A beacon illuminating the path for others ready to break free. A mirror reflecting potential they've kept hidden from themselves. A living embodiment of the cosmic truth that we are all infinitely more powerful, more aware, and more divine than we've been led to believe. You are a living example of what's possible for the brave few who can overcome their fear and see your evolution as inspiration rather than a threat. Since they know deep down that your knowledge is just a sneak peek at humanity's next evolutionary leap, they can't stop talking about how you know more than you admit, and that development is already under progress, whether they are prepared or not. Nothing will ever be the same again because you are its pioneer, its early adopter, and its vanguard. Now you have entered the cosmic portal and passed through it. Others will follow, some eagerly, others grudgingly, but your brave example has lit the route and shown the way ahead. They speak about you now because they know deep down that their higher selves grasp what their egos reject and that their spirits perceive what their brains oppose. You are the tangible evidence that transcendence is achievable, that awakening is more than just a spiritual notion, and that everyone's amazing potential may be realized throughout this lifetime. And of all the messages, it is the most revolutionary. Your path is in harmony with the heavenly bodies themselves. You are acknowledged by the cosmic powers that control reality as a spark and a force for change in a planet that is in dire need of waking. It's no coincidence that you're here. God has carefully planned your arrival on this earth at this critical juncture in human history. The stars themselves recognize your part in this great cosmic play and whisper your name over the emptiness of space. Every instance of synchronicity you encounter is affirmation. The cosmos is nodding in agreement with every coincidence that falls into your way. In your presence, the very fabric of reality flexes slightly, sensing your higher frequency and reacting appropriately. Even people who would never acknowledge their belief in such things feel this about you. They take note of the way things appear to change around you. They notice how even the most improbable circumstances appear to work in your favor. Some people refer to it as luck. Some refer to it as a blessing. Some may even refer to it as magic. But the fact is that it is just the universe's natural reaction to someone who has accepted their cosmic destiny and rediscovered who they really are. You line yourself with the stars, not the other way around. Orient yourself to your greatest potential's frequency. Keep in mind the purpose for which you came. And now, the cosmos itself rejoices in your remembrance as you walk this planet fully awake, completely cognizant and fully alive. They can't stop talking about this. They perceive this but are unable to identify it. This is what attracts people to you and frightens them at the same time. What others have forgotten, you have recalled. They continue to dispute what you have accepted. You've turned into what they're afraid they could become.